Greetings, viewers. I've been doing a lot of eBaying recently, clearing out my watch list, now that I'm actually making real money. Some things, well, a lot of things will get their own video, but in this video we're going to focus on this, this is an example of why we don't leave lowball opening bids on things, expecting we're going to get outbid. This was an item that was listed with an opening bid of 1 cent, plus I think about $20 shipping, and there were about 4 days left on the auction when I saw it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get outbid on this, but why not? I'll leave the opening 1 cent bid, because this was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was dead tired, and I wasn't thinking straight, and forgot about it. And then 4 days later, I get a notification that, please pay now to receive this item, and it's like, oh good lord. So what is this? It's a Legend QDI, which is probably what attracted me to it at first, because I'd never heard of that brand before. I think it's just another one of those cheap Taiwanese 90s brands that didn't stand the test of time, or one of those turn-of-the-century brands. There were a lot of them all over the place. One of the more well-known ones was PC Chips and Technologies, but no, this is Legend QDI. I've never seen that before. Reminded me of Leading Edge at first, but it's not Leading Edge either. Apparently they were a cheap manufacturer of boards back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But there's not a whole lot that's special about it other than that. You get 3 PCI and 3 ISA. One of them's a combo slot, so you really only get 5 slots. It's pretty standard layout. But the thing I didn't notice at first, I saw the Pentium 2 part of that. I didn't see the Celeron. And I'm not really sure what the difference is between a Pentium 2 and a Pentium 2 Celeron, because I think those were the first generation of Celeron chips. I don't think they had Socket 7 Celerons. I may be surprised to learn that there were a couple of them that were out there, but they certainly weren't very popular. Pretty sure I've seen a Pentium 2 Celeron before. I know I've seen I think it was a Pentium 2 Xeon, although maybe not. I think that was a Pentium 3 thing. My memory's a little foggy on these slotted CPUs because I never really used a whole lot of them. Just never really saw them. The Pentium 2 was something I grazed right over. Went straight to the Pentium 3 because, of course, it was way before my time anyway. So, either way, looks like it's in pretty good shape. Really clean, too. So, I thought we'd put together a build and see if it actually works. So, I'm going to use this case, which you may remember from my dual Celeron setup, funny enough. That dual socket 370 Celeron. This case is a piece of crap, and it's pretty busted. But I'm hopeful that I'll actually be able to make it work, because I had one hell of a time trying to unload this thing. I've had people that said they were interested in it, but nobody ever actually answered, and obviously nobody ever came to pick it up, and it's been listed since I made that video. So, well, almost since I made that video. Probably like a week later. However long it took me to get to moving it to the new case. But I've taken it off of the sale market, and I'm going to go ahead and put some hardware in it. Okay, my sunlight is vanishing really quickly, and so is my time to do this. Here's what I've done. I've gone ahead and installed the board with the screws. I've hooked up the front panel, hopefully correctly. I guess we'll find out if anything smokes. But as far as peripherals are concerned, what I have a floppy drive, just random floppy drive. I don't know if it even works. For a hard drive, I have this, just a 1.6 gig drive. Actually used to be in my Pentium 120 rig a while back. But this has stuff on it, and because that system will not boot correctly if there's a dead battery, I wasn't able to erase the contents of this drive using that. So I just put in a similar drive, and we'll use this one in here. Might as well use it for something, right? And a pair of just CD-ROM drives that I hope work. Again, there could be a lot of failures with this. I gotta get the RAM too. I don't know where I put it. Oh, I think it's over here, actually. I happened to find in my junk bin some RAM. I'm going to just put it all in there. There's a 64 meg module here and a 256 meg. I don't know if it'll like the 256, but the 64 it should be fine with. Drives are now all installed. I'll have to cable them up. That shouldn't be too hard. I may have to get some 4-pin audio cables to hook those, at least one of those CD drives up to the sound card. Speaking of sound card, here are the cards that we're going to install. Just a random Ethernet card, although it's got an RTL8139 chipset, so it should work fine with no issues. Here is the sound card, an SBO100 Sound Blaster Live 5.1. Basically the first thing that I grabbed that seemed like it'd be period correct. And this, again, basically the first thing I grabbed that seemed like it would be period correct. It's just a Rage 128, I think. Copyright 1999. Ooh, it's 128 Pro. Ooh, fancy. I don't know why it's got two heat sinks. If it's got two processors on it. Not really sure, but either way, go ahead and install those. Okay, card's installed. I have not screwed that one in yet because I actually needed to remove it so I could plug in the floppy cable. And one thing that I've realized in working with this is that this thing's old enough. I should have known this, but it's old enough that it needs cables without the key pin blocked off. And trying to find those in my collection was difficult. Plus, I also made the realization that I think I'm running out of IDE ribbons, which is good because I got a lot more of these set up, so that's fun. But hopefully I can find more, or I'm not going to run through them all. But yeah, we are really starting to run out of cables. So now I got to get the power supply hooked up. Ah, yes, the point in the build where you junk everything up with a power supply. But I think everything is cabled up. So the only thing that we have left to do is to power it up and see how much of it doesn't work. So let me go ahead and get this thing over by my test area, and we'll fire it up. Okay, no hiding from it now. Hey! That's promising. That's very promising. I think the fan is bad, but if that's the only thing that's wrong with it, who cares? Oh, well, the power LED is not working, so I think I've got that either backwards or on the wrong 3 pins of the 5-pin connector. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I thought about mentioning it and never did, but this board is old enough that it has the functionality of a case lock on board, and when they do that, they integrated that with the power LED, so it's a 5-pin connection. 4 pins are hooked up. 2 pins. What the hell just happened? Okay. You just saw firsthand the literal results of a smoke test. I'm not sure what blew up. It smells like peanut butter of all things, which is really odd. But given it doesn't smell like smoke, and that the system was still working after that happened, it was either a capacitor in the power supply, or it was just dust getting conductive and exploding as a result, which I've had happen before. Probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to go ahead and power it on again. And we'll see what happens this time. It still works. Speed easy. I actually didn't even look at that. Does it see all the RAM? No, it only sees 64 megs. So it doesn't like that 256 meg module. So that's cool. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Oh man. Well, I'm sure it was in the power supply just because the smoke was blowing out of the power supply. So I'll probably have to blow the dirt out of that. Probably should have done that anyway. So let me see if I can get this set up to my liking. Yeah, it looks like the battery's bad, which I kind of expected. I'm going to take that 256 meg module out, and I'm going to see if I can hook up the power LED properly. And then we'll see where we go from there. I'll also, like I said, I'll set this up to my liking. If there's anything else notable in the BIOS, we can go ahead and take a look. Okay, back at it the next day. Even though you wouldn't even be able to tell because it's still friggin' dark out. We're back with this thing. Hopefully it doesn't explode again when I do this, but I had some thoughts since yesterday that I'm a little concerned the hard drive's not spinning up. I haven't adjusted anything else. I haven't touched anything else. Oh, well, I think I turned that off. Okay. Let's see if she blows again. Still have no power LED. Please don't explode. That would be very nice. Of course, I can't even really tell if the hard drive is spinning up or not. I think it is, but I didn't hear it do seek test. So, I do kind of wonder. CPU overspeed will be dangerous. Will it cause smoke to come out the side of the machine? It's going to scare me when it blows up again. Because invariably it will. Alright, I'm going to just go ahead and exit and see if it does anything. I'm going to have to replace the CMOS battery. No, it's not seeing it. It's not seeing those either, it doesn't look like. Very interesting. Oh no, it did see the CD-ROMs. Well, it saw one of them. That's weird. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to figure out some jumpering because that shouldn't be happening. Okay, did a little bit of quick investigating and discovered that the hard drive ribbon cable was plugged in backwards. That's one of those issues that you have with those non-keyed cables. Thank God it's not set up in a way that would blow up a drive if you hook it up backwards. There we go, I can hear it now. Oh, nostalgia. 343 megahertz. Oh, it does see both drives. Let's see if it boots anything. Nope, doesn't boot anything. I think my LEDs are backwards. So I don't think I saw the hard drive LED go off either. Could also be that the drive LED is no good. But I think that drive LED is backwards. So there's nothing bootable on that drive. So, anyway. I'm going to see if I can get these cables hooked up properly. Okay, I forgot how bad this side panel was. That's not very good. But what I did, I gave up on the power LED. I couldn't get that one to work. So what I did is I hooked it up to, there's a header on the board labeled green LED, and it seems to work for that, although it behaves a little weirdly, not like a power LED would. If I turn the system on, you can see the LED lights up, and only slightly. I guess that's a way of saying, oh, this thing's got standby power. So that might actually be handy. And when you hit the power switch, it comes all the way on. It seems to work. It's an Intel 440 EX chipset. I may go into setup and can actually configure it. Huh. Never mind. I know for a fact the battery's bad. So, I'm trying to think. Can I actually change that? Here's the plus key. Oh, yeah, you can. So this is like that, this is like that, what is that? That 8-bit board. QDI Innovative Technology. Yeah. Jumperless speed settings for CPUs. That was a new thing when this was released. I'm glad everything defaults to auto. So, unfortunately it doesn't like that 256 megabyte memory module. So, what I'm going to run on this will probably need more than 64 megs. So I'll have to revisit that at some point. But I think for now, that's probably it. I think both of these optical drives actually work. I mean, I don't know if they work, but I know that they both are getting power. So, I think they're probably fine. I think everything is okay. So I'll need to replace the CMOS battery, and then install an operating system, plus upgrade the memory on this thing. So, some work to do, but it's a computer now at least. So, that's going to do it for this video.